Everybody, okay, we're going to get started. Welcome to our 2022 Skies Conference. I'm so happy you were all able to make it today. Thanks to everyone that also joined the MyPLN event and for your feedback, which we've incorporated in today's webinar. The instructions were right there how to log in. We've got a lot of support for you today, and we're going to start with a presentation from Julius, Dr. Julius Su. Many of you know Julius as the founder and lead creator of Skies. I'm James, the co-founder of Skies that can help you and your schools get started with Skies. And many of you know Ami and Rachel. People sometimes ask us when I press the help button, when I'm telling them about the help button, they say, well, is it just like a robot? And I say, no, Rachel is a real person. And I know a lot of you, I know her well, and she provides fantastic support. So thank you. I'm still getting comparisons. Skies is still getting compared to Nordstrom's. And so we're happy to support you all. We're big fans of yours. Julius is going to start off with a presentation telling you about what he's been up to all summer and our newest features. And then after that hour, we're going to have a couple of minutes for questions and answers, and then we'll break up into differentiated breakout rooms. The absolute new beginners will be able to work with our awesome teacher trainers that can help you get started and make some lessons ready to go. And then we also have some sessions if you feel like you're more of a beginner, or if you feel you're more advanced. And so with that, I'd like to turn it over to Julius, and welcome you and thank you again.
It's great. It's great to see everyone. Thank you to all, 60 something of you for sharing your Saturday mornings with us. So this presentation is not going to have any real theme except for what we did during our summer. Sometimes teachers ask, well, how do you decide, what to put in Skies? How do you decide what features to add and things like this? So I'm just going to post a card here. How do we decide what to put into Skies? It's not a very scientific process, but here's the sort of things that go into it. One is we sometimes peek into your lessons. There's so many lessons that you guys make. We don't peek into each one of them, but we do, try to figure out what kind of cards are being used the most and how people are using Skies and things like that. James also, throughout the year, has been visiting schools and making visits to classes, and he'll write notes about what he sees teachers doing with Skies, what he sees teachers doing not using Skies, but could be using Skies for, and just what he sees teachers doing in general. And we just try to find ways to make Skies help you, for everything that you might possibly be able to use technology for. We also, during the summer, teach our own classes, try out Skies in, the most, far out ways we can imagine to see if it's practical at all to spread to everyone else. And sometimes when we're using Skies ourselves, we occasionally run into bugs, pains, issues, strong wishes that we could do something about this annoying thing that we come across. And that own pain, informs a lot of progress in Skies over the summer as well, now that we get to use it ourselves. So I'll just call it own pains with teaching. And of course, events like this, we're very open to feature requests. So I think anyone who's been to a previous Skies conference knows that it tends to become more of a conversation about 10 minutes in, where you guys raise your hand and goes, well, one other thing, or if you could do this or you could do that. And I do make a list of the things you guys requested, and I'll try to work on at least some of them. So coming from this list, the big additions we made last year, let me just review them. Big additions last year. The number one thing we noticed teachers do on Skies is going paperless, replacement for paper, because we live in a world where everyone's still got to cover a curriculum. There's so many resources, but they're all on a 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. So we call these worksheet tools, even though we know they're not all worksheets, but they're all paper-based. Worksheet tools. So if I'm going to mention a feature that you're not familiar with, please, please, please go to a breakout room afterwards and ask us how to use it, because these are very, very helpful. So we introduce things like text boxes that are automatically recognized so students can type things in directly into worksheets. Movable boxes. If you guys ever use those worksheets which involve using scissors to cut things out and move them somewhere and paste it somewhere else, Skies does that all automatically now. It recognizes little dotted line boxes so your students can just drag them using the computer. We have something called Drawing Scanner, which lets students take pictures of things around them, including work done on scratch paper, and sort of put them directly into any worksheet you can imagine with a box. So this really bridges the gap between what students can write on paper and what they can put into the computer. And finally, we created something called Worksheet Grader, which lets you sort of isolate a single question on the worksheet and just grade that one, go question by question, see all the responses, just one question at a time. And it makes grading worksheets and other paper-based activities super, super fast. So again, if these are new to you, please ask the teachers in the breakout rooms about it, because we'd be very happy to show you how to use them. The other big thing we introduced was Fluency Timer, because we saw card after card after card in the lessons that you guys made. Here's a reading passage, record the reading passage, stop yourself after 2 minutes, and then tell us how many words you were able to read. Like, we saw hundreds and hundreds of cards like that. And then there were some requests like, could you guys put in a timer for us so we don't have to tell students to self-time? So there's a Fluency Timer built in Skies now. So again, if you don't know how to do that, please ask one of the teachers afterward. Finally, one other big thing James noticed when he was going around from classroom to classroom was teachers were intensely curious what other teachers on Skies were doing with their lessons. I mean, of course, if you're all using Engage New York or Core Knowledge or things like this, like, everyone knows what everyone else is doing. But there were a lot of really innovative, creative uses of Skies that we saw. And so we created the Lesson Collective, which is a way for teachers to opt into letting other teachers see what they're up to. So anyone in the collective can see anyone else's lessons in the last 2 weeks. And so you just sort of get an idea of what's going on. And on top of that, we have people on the Sky staff, mostly Ami and Rachel, trawling through the collective, looking for lessons to feature, which go out into a featured lessons email like every 2 days. So you guys don't even have to be looking. We're sort of telling you what the cool things happening in Skies are, and then you can click on them and copy them as resources into your own lessons. So again, if you're not familiar with the collective, how to use it, how to copy resources from other teachers, please ask one of the teachers after in the breakout room about how to use this feature, because it's really cool, and it's really, we feel, has brought teachers together even more closely in this sort of community that we're building. Okay, but we're not here for that, because this is all old news, all from last year. We're here for stuff we did over the summer. So just to reassure you that we take your feature requests seriously, these were the things you guys asked for last year's conference. These were the things that get called out. So let me run through these quickly and tell you the status of these to-do items. Disabling spell check. Yes, spell check is now disabled in quick response cards. So if you're making a spelling quiz in the quick response card, students cannot misspell a word, look for the red squiggly underline and correct it, and then type in the right word. So spell check is by default disabled on quick response cards now. Course-based differentiation categories. We had categories built in before, but you had to remake the categories every single lesson. A lot of you asked, well, could you just make one set of groupings of students and have it persist throughout the whole course? And that's exactly what we're going to present today, something called user groups. So we knocked that one out too. Better printing options. Yes, we now have great printing options. You can take a stack of student work, put it in a grid, cut it out with scissors, put it on the bulletin board. You can arrange it however you want. It's very flexible. If you don't know how to use it, please ask one of the teachers afterward. We knocked that one out too. Parent option. You're like, we'd love it if parents could get in and look at their students' work, but not see anyone else's work, and also see any work their students are missing so they can hound them to actually submit their work. And then we're like, you mean like a parent portal? And you guys were all like, no, 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 no. Parent portals are way too complicated. We just want something simple. So we built you guys a parent portal. Sorry, but it's a simple parent portal. And we'll show you our take on it in just a few minutes. More generators for higher grades. Perimeter, area, volume. I'm sorry we didn't get around to this. So sorry, middle school teachers, high school teachers, we did not get around to this. Annotations, shapes, and lines. Yes, we did this, and we even put in grids and other fun things for you. Portfolio, you guys all were like, portfolio is really cool, but we'd love to be able to see quizzes as well in the portfolio, as well as students missing their work. We figured out how to do the missing work thing. We did not put in the quizzes yet. Sorry about that. Digital certificates and badges. Sorry, didn't get around to that either. It sounds really cool, but we didn't figure out a good way to put that in yet. Integration. Google Classroom, we did. Synergy, we could not figure out how to do, but Synergy and Google Classroom do integrate with each other. So you can do Synergy through Google Classroom, but we know it's not the best solution. So we'll still think about this. So we got like 70% of the to-do items done. So this is the update on where that's at. And I'm just going to post this so you can see we're setting ourselves to be accountable to you guys. But hey, at least we're transparent. Okay. Let's see, what's next? So let's jump into these new features. So the first one I want to talk about is color text. So some ELA teachers particularly have been telling us they would love to have more colors, because right now it was like, you can have colors as long as it's red or black. And they were like, that's not good enough. So we put in more colors. So here's how to use it. Let's say we're doing like a, ELA thing, which is like, this is wrong. I eat a grape yesterday. And this is right. I ate a grape yesterday. And you want to put the word eat in green, and you want to put the word, I'm sorry, you want to make this red, and you want to make this green. To do that, we now have this white looking rectangle here, and you can just make this red there. And we have this white looking rectangle here, and this is green. And when you post it, it says, I eat a grape yesterday, and I ate a grape yesterday. You will see the red one is red, the green one is green. So that's pretty much that. Any questions about color text? I can go through it one more time.
One more time, please.
Okay, so here I am typing something in red. So if I want to make the something in red red, I just highlight it. I click the rectangle and I click red. Or I could do here, I want to make something purple. Again, you highlight it, you click the white rectangle, and you make it purple. And then once you post it, it'll appear with all the colors that you want. Any questions about that?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Straightforward. Okay, I'm going to mention one other way you can do it. You can also do it as you're typing. If you are like, now I want things different, you can make this red while you're typing. Here is some red stuff. And after you're done and you want to turn it back to the regular color, you can do it this way too. Someone asked about slide backgrounds. So slide backgrounds have always been possible. You've always been able to do it like this. Okay, oh, that looks horrible. Okay, let's make it black. Okay, something like this. So teachers have always been, are there other colors? No, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 colors and white, so 9 colors. But we don't have any other color options. Although, if you guys could think of another color that would be represented, that could be good. Okay, so that's it for color text. I do want to note that drawing, if you're doing a drawing, we have a wild color that lets you set any color you could possibly want. So the wild color feature can be used for drawing, but we do not have a wild color feature for color text. There's just a few different colors that we have. Okay. Any other questions on color text? Cool. Okay. I will move on to the next one, which is user groups. So differentiation's always been a popular feature. So let's say we have a card. This is a card we want to differentiate. And you guys know how differentiation's always worked. You press the thing that's right now, this card says all, ALL here, because it's visible to everyone, right? If you click on all, you can make it visible to some teachers, but not to others, or some students, but not to others. And I can hide them from everyone. I can make it so just some of these teachers can see things. But the problem has been, and now we have 10 students that can see it. Okay. But the problem with this is you kind of have to go back with every card and like redo, and it can be kind of a pain. I mean, we had this whole path segment thing where you could group cards together and do it different, but it's still kind of a pain. So now when you see this, all you have to do is say, hey, I want to save this as a new group. And I can call this like, you know, ELA, I don't know, cats or something. And after you save it as ELA cats, you see that it just appears here as ELA cats. So all the ELA cats should be able to see this. Let me refresh this actually. And if you hover over ELA cats, you will immediately see which students can see it. So no more having to click on things. You know, you see ELA cats, these are the students who can see your card. Furthermore, if you make another card, here is another card for the ELA cats. If you click all, you can say, hey, I just want the ELA cats to be able to see it. And it remembers who the ELA cats are, and it sets it to be the ELA cats. Okay. So that's one thing you can do. You don't need to keep on remaking them.
And you don't need to have the kids know the name of ELA cats because they just see the card on their own Skies thread, correct?
Exactly. Yes. So they'll see that. They'll just see the cards they see, and that's it. They won't know that like they're like the math penguins or something like that. I mean, no.
What if you wanted to add another student?
Oh, to the group?
Yes.
Yeah. So if you're like, okay, you know, the ELA cats, you notice how it's set to ELA cats right now? If we want to add Angela Simon to ELA cats, we just click this, and that's it. Now, Angela Simon should be able to see it too. I might need to refresh it for that to come through. But yeah, once the group is selected, yeah, you see her at the bottom. There we go. Yeah, all you have to do is you can edit the group by just changing things while this group name is selected. So it's very straightforward.
Does it remember from lesson to lesson or just for this one lesson?
It remembers it from lesson to lesson. So it stays throughout your entire course.
Oh, great,
So
thank you.
You can set it up once and then not have to worry about it again.
Hello, this is James.
Yes, I'm trying to get to your link for today.
I'm gonna mute that. Okay. So
What if you wanted to delete the whole group? Do you just toggle everybody and the group will go away?
okay. So here's the other thing that we have. You can look at all the groups that you have here, groups, and you can click view groups. And we have a way to view all the groups at once. And if you click this, you can delete a group.
Beautiful. Thanks.
Okay, let me show you another way you can do that. If you click here, you can see all the user groups all at once. Here are your ELA cats. and then you can rename it or you can delete it. So, okay, any questions about that? I'm going to show you guys one more time how to create a group, just so we have two groups side by side.
Julius, can you
Yes.
add more than one group to a card?
Yes. So let me do that right now. So here is another card, and I'll show you how to do it. Yeah, I'll show you how to do that. So let's say I want to differentiate this in another way. And I'm going to call this the ELA dogs or something. So this is the ELA dogs, and you can see here all the ELA dogs. But let's say I want to make another card, cats and dogs can see. I can make it, if I select the group tab, I can make it so the cats and the dogs can see it. So now we've got two groups, and it will show its ELA cats and ELA dogs, and it will show the combined thing from both groups at once. So it's very flexible. Any questions about that?
It's
No.
not showing it to the rest of the groups, just those particular two groups?
Yeah, it's just showing it to those particular two groups, the ELA cats and the ELA dogs.
Oh, thank you.
And if you look at user groups, you can look at the groups side by side to see who's in which group. You can also create your groups from here. If you're like, you can also just go ahead and use this interface to create the groups. So it just looks like a big grid of checkboxes and students. There was a TK teacher we talked to who was basically doing this exact same thing, but by hand. Like she had like a piece of paper and like she walked around like, okay, these are the students who need help with this. These are the students who need help. And she had this big thing of all these groups, and she was always trying to differentiate. And we were like, well, this is an amazing thing that she's doing, but is there a way to do it so, guys can just remember it and you won't have to carry around all this paper? So yeah, that's basically it. Any questions, any more questions about user groups?
Julius, Mr. Steve Popper have a question about, will the new student added to the group be able to see the older cards or just the recent card or newer cards added?
Once you add a student to a group, it's retroactive. They'll be able to see everything from before as well.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
You're welcome.
And Julius, do you think you could say something about, since things are differentiated and points are different, if you're sending to grade books? Ms. Garrison had a question about how it handles things to students that didn't do the cards when you send it to Schoology, for example, because everybody, we have a button that you press and guys post your assignments and transfers your grades.
Right. Okay. So this is one more thing we had added to Skies last year, which is something that no other program, as far as I know, has. So here's the thing. Let's say you have like a card like this and a card like this, and they're both worth 4 points. Here's the funny thing, right? For some of these students, this is a 4-point assignment. For some of these students, it's an 8-point assignment. Do you guys understand why that would be the case? Because
Yes.
okay, because only some of these students can see some of these cards. The problem is with every other learning platform, they just assume that it's going to be an 8-point assignment for everyone. What Skies does is it actually lets you have the total number of points for the assignment be different for each student, which is good. It can calculate the percentages, it can make everything work. But when you export to Schoology or you export to Google Classroom, well, you still need to have a point value somewhere. So what it does is it takes the maximum of all of those points and says, okay, it's an 8-point assignment for everyone, but it scales it up. It scales it. So it looks like it's an 8-point assignment for everyone, but everyone gets scaled. So everyone's still getting like the right percentages, the right amount of credit. So again, let me just post this in the card because I know this is hard to like talk through. How Skies handles differentiation and total points. With differentiation, every student can have a different number of total points because everyone is seeing a different set of questions. Okay, let me learn how to spell that. Okay, but platforms like Schoology or Google Classroom assume that every assignment has only one total point value. So when we export to Schoology or Google Classroom, we set the total number of points to be the maximum that any student can get. Like if differentiation did not exist. And we scale the points we send over. So everyone is getting the correct percentages. So that's the that's how it works in a nutshell. It was a little complicated to figure out programming wise, but it works well. And so you won't ever penalize a student by differentiating. They won't ever be missing points or anything like that. It just works. Okay, any questions about that? Okay, cool. So I'll move on to timed lessons. So this was another feature that it's just a little feature. But now you can open and close lessons at particular times. You don't need to, you can set for open only, close only, or both. So let's say I have this present, let's say I make a lesson and I'm like, lesson A. Now we have this thing called time control. So I can be like, this lesson should open, let's see, today. Today. This lesson should also close today. Actually, I'm going to say this lesson should open in 1 minute. Save. And now we have lesson A. Oops. Let's try that again. Okay, so it opens in 1 minute. I'm going to make lesson B, but now I'm going to say lesson B closes at 10:33 a.m. Let's see. Set this to open. Okay, that didn't come through for some reason. Let's try that again. There we go. So now we have one lesson that should open in 1 minute and one lesson that should close in 1 minute. And if you, look at your lesson panel, you should see, let's see. I don't have another student account right now. Let's see. Okay. I'm just going to go ahead and add a new student here. I hope I can do it within a minute so I can show you guys what it looks like. Nope, wrong one. So you see lesson A opened and the other one closed. I missed the window. But what you should have seen was this remarkable thing of like one lesson closing and one lesson opening, as things open and close. Oops, wrong one. Okay, any questions about timed lessons? So it's just a basic feature. It lets you open and close things at certain times, so you can set things up in advance. Don't have to be there. Okay, then we're going to move on to search. So search. So the idea is that we see that teachers are now like putting just everything they do on skies. But then this runs into a thing where like teachers are putting things up by date, and they're like, oh, I did a lesson on photosynthesis, but like, was it like mid-July? You know, was it mid-April? Was it on a Monday? When did I do that lesson? So we felt like search was an important thing to add. So the idea is we can search for any text that appears in a teacher or student card. So you can search for student work as well. It can search within worksheets, slides, etc. Yes, we went and did optical character recognition on all of your worksheets. So you're not only searching within the text you typed in the skies, but all the text that's within any worksheets you posted on skies.
Is this
That's
also searching the collective?
No, not yet. That's something we would like to add in the future though. So you guys could like, yeah, that would be very cool, but we haven't added that yet. This just searches within your own course. So let's say I've got my skies course. I'm just going to pull up an S3 course, a course that James taught last summer. Oops. Sorry. You can see all the stuff we've been doing. Here we go. And how you use the search is there's now just this little search text box up in the upper left-hand corner of every lesson pullout. So if I type in like the word constellation, you hit it. And now all of the things that the word constellation appears in, it appears in 2 lessons, patterns in the sky and patterns in the sky 2. You click on any of these and it will jump straight to where it appeared. So here you see that we did something about the star finder and we had the word constellation. You do it again, you can see here, it actually found it within this worksheet that we had, which talked about a constellation map. And so it was able to find it in that worksheet as well.
Julius, would you mind just confirming if it's searching all your lessons, even previous archived lessons, or?
Yeah, it can search all of your archived lessons, all of your archived courses, but it only searches on a course by course basis. So you need to go into a course and you need to press search and it will search only within that course.
Julius, so like this is like a PDF, so it would find the text within the PDF.
Yes.
Did it again, Julius.
Our team, thank you. Yes, but yeah, we were like, oh, we need to make it search worksheets too. We need to make it search Google Slides. We need to make it search everything. So we did a bunch of stuff over the summer to make it do that. Cool. Any questions about search?
If the document is a JPG, can it be searched?
Yes.
Oh,
Is
Yeah,
it
that-
able to search by date?
No, that would be a good feature, but no, it just searches by text. So if you have like an image with the word like spinach in it, and you type in the word spinach, it should be able to, should be able to find it. Yeah, I mean, we do optical character recognition. So if it's like a handwritten spinach, it might have trouble, but if it's like a typed spinach, you should find it no problem.
how about the language? Can you recognize some other languages other than English?
So,
For example, Chinese.
right. Okay. Let's see. Let me think about this. So how would I find some Chinese characters on the internet? Like how would I type something in Chinese right now?
Pinyin?
Let's see. Okay, how about this? I'm gonna go ahead and open this one up for people to post. Can whoever's asking the question post something in Chinese underneath?
Okay.
Okay.
Here. Okay, can you see it?
Yes, thank you. Okay, and let's just search for this character. I don't know. We'll see if it works. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to click this. I'm just going to search for it. No, it doesn't work. So we'll look into why. I feel like we should be able to do it. But yeah, I don't know why it doesn't show up. I'm going to try again, but it does not look like it is working. Nope. Okay, so English only right now, but we'll figure this Chinese thing out.
Okay.
Yeah, cool.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions?
Wait, you know what? I'm not sure if you added, because it's at the very top, it says no translation. So maybe if you change the translation to add the Chinese, maybe it might identify it. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, no, yeah. I think that they're separate panels. But our other programmer is actually Taiwanese, so he'll living in Taiwan. Yeah, we're gonna figure this out. We'll figure out how to make this work.
Is it just could it be English characters? I mean, like you're typing with Spanish words using the same characters you do in English. Will it,
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. Cool. It's probably some Unicode issue. Like we're probably like stripping the. Anyway, I'm just speculating. Yeah. Cool. Any more questions about search? I'm gonna add the Chinese thing here. Okay. So last but not least, our take on the parent portal. So I think last time we talked at the conference, the main objection everyone had to parent portals was that they required like parents to figure out some like, they have to basically create new accounts, right? Like they have to have a username, they have to have a password, they need to reset their password, they lose it. There's just this whole set of like, a whole separate set of accounts you need to like handle. So we don't have accounts. What we do have are parent codes. So parent codes will appear now in Schoology or Google Classroom. So let's say you go to your Google Classroom, and now what you see is there's a new column here called parent code. Oh, sorry. Let me log back in as myself. I think I was still logged in as NSTA. So if you go to your Schoology or Google Classroom window, take a second to get that information. It's lost my Google Classroom site. Let's see.
I know a lot of you will share with us how that gets reset at the best possible times every year.
Okay.
We were just using this yesterday.
Yeah, it worked fine yesterday. The problem with like asking one of you guys for your Schoology account is that I think all the Schoology accounts get archived over the summer.
And they don't get put up immediately until very close to the very beginning of the school year, I was told, because then parents also have access to seeing where their students' classes, and they want to then call the office and make a possible change, which takes up a lot of telephone time and tech time. So I was told that it's probably the last thing that gets put into Schoology to open up our classes, which means—
Thank you for also explaining the reasoning behind that. I appreciate that.
Okay. Let me think of a way I could demonstrate this then. Okay, give me a second. Parent code. So I need some sort of Schoology account. I need some sort of Google Classroom account. My Google Classroom stuff is not showing here.
And while you're doing that, I have a question from Alex and also from TNM, who Engage New York, Eureka lessons are still available. So is the CKLA, the core knowledge, both CKLA and CK Science. So and those are also things that we're happy to help you with.
And Eureka.
Yes. And we're happy to show you how you can peruse the library in the public domain, or when you're in the teacher domain, how to import them directly. So happy to go into that more detail. Yes, Alex?
No, so I went on my Skies account and then I went to Schoology and my roster's there with the parent code.
Great.
I don't know if you want to use
Oh,
mine
and it
or-
looks like Julius, I was
Okay.
able to pull one
I
up.
was able
Okay.
to, so
Yeah, thanks
I-
for
I
offering,
know.
Alex.
thanks. I know what happened. Yeah, yesterday we cleared all the licenses of students so that they wouldn't get like confused if they moved schools and things like that. And so we cleared these licenses as well, but I put them back, so it's fine. Okay. Anyway, so when you open up Schoology or you open up Google Classroom, you'll now see a new column called parent code. And what you'll notice is that for every student you have enrolled, there is now a 12-digit number. All you have to do, and I know this is kind of a big ask, is find a way to get into each parent's hands this 12-digit number for their kid. Just do it at the beginning of the year. They need to enter it once, but if you could somehow get them those 12 digits, all the parent has to do later is go into skyslearn.com, and there is a new box called parent code, right? Parent code. And if they enter in this parent code and click login, it'll take them to a page where they see all the courses their students are in.
Oh, nice.
They click in that and they go directly to the portfolio.
Nice.
And they only have to log in one time the whole school year, right?
One time the whole school year, it remembers their thing otherwise. See, it remembers it here. So
What if they're using like their phone on one end and then like they're then they're on their iPad another.
they can log in as many times as they want using the code from whatever devices they want. It remembers
Can we
it.
adjust the code? Can we like give them reset the code for them? Or
No, that would be a good thing to be able to do. But right now it's just a fixed code. It is 12 digits, so there's no chance of someone guessing it by accident. Or
Can
very,
you
very
show
rare.
one time more how to find the parent code? Is it where we find the class code?
Yeah. So if you go to signed in as, if you're LAUSD, click Schoology. If you're like Rialto, click Google Classroom. And all the students under your learning management system will appear here. And the parent codes will be right here. And so parents will be able to log on to parent code. And then the only thing the parents have access to is the portfolio. Because the portfolio shows all of their kids' work, all of the work that's missing. And that's it. Not complicated, very simple, very simple portal. But we figured that parent portals get people into trouble because they're too complicated. So we just wanted to make something really, really simple. Okay, question.
yes, Julius, once the kids register into our course, that parent code will be generated? Because right now, like on my end, like I see my roster
Yes.
and then all the parent codes are the same.
Okay.
And then some of the kids don't have a Skies username yet, even though
Okay.
some kids from my class last year.
Okay. I want to take a peek into that. Once they have a Skies account, they'll automatically have a parent code for them.
Okay.
Yeah, but if they don't have an account yet and they're still showing up, then that's something I need to peek into and make it so it doesn't show anything. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Is there a question from Mario's iPhone?
You went into this in user groups, correct?
No, no
sorry.
question for me. Sorry.
Okay,
I went into this using signed in as, and then I clicked either Schoology or Google Classroom. Schoology or Google Classroom. So it needs to be through a learning management system because we want to ensure that you're only seeing the parent code for students that legitimately belong to your class. So that's our security.
Got it. Thank you.
So
Okay.
I can see my students' names for my class that's going to be this year, but it doesn't show any usernames, and it says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 for the parent.
Okay.
So
So
will that
that's-
change later?
That will change later. So once they actually start using Skies and register and go through the whole process that we walk teachers through every year, that will change into a real parent code. And I'll actually fix it so it shows a blank instead of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let's eliminate any confusion. Yeah, from that. Cool, but thanks. So yeah. This week I'll be working on the Chinese thing and then the parent code 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 thing. Cool. Anything else? Any other questions?
I have
Julius in
a
the
question.
chat.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, Madrid. Julius in the chat, Thomas had a question that says, is it possible to print a list of the parent codes in a text format so you can merge this from a list into a parent letter?
Absolutely. So if you click download usernames, it will, and you click on this. Let's see. Download usernames. Click on this, opening it. And then you'll see, yeah, it appears in the spreadsheet, and then you could copy it into a mail merge to mail things to parents. So you can absolutely do it that way. Cool. Cool. Okay. Yeah, CSV file. Exactly. Yeah, I didn't want to just say CSV, but yeah, for those of you who know what CSV is, it's a comma separated value format that any spreadsheet can read and any mail merge program will work with, including the Avery self-adhesive sticker thing that you can then print out.
Could we just copy and paste it into like a parent portal that uses Dojo or any kind of communication we have with parents?
I'm not familiar with how to send different messages to different parents. But if anyone who has Dojo wants to sit with one of us later, I'd be glad to try to see how that could work. But that would be a great way to do it. So you don't have to mail anything. Cool. Any other?
Quick question.
Yes.
Can students change their username?
So students cannot change their own username, but we can change usernames for them. And you can also change your own students' usernames. So if you have gosh, let's see how to do this. If you're Schoology, the problem is, Alex Serafin, you said your students are showing up on your Schoology right now. Can I go into your account just to show how it might look?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, let me do that then. Okay. Ah, okay. Your username is just Serafin. Okay, let's just. Okay, so let's say I'm going into Alex's account here. Okay. So sorry, I take that back. You guys do not have a way to change your students' usernames, but we do. So just hit that chat button, tell us what username you'd like us to change, and then we have a really easy way we can do it.
And just so you know, technically it's that easy. When you click the help button, you can just say, can you please change the student back or to this other name? And we already know who you are and can do it, and we'll let you know when it's done.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. You can reset your students' passwords, though. That is something you can do through that page. Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah, Julius, since you were on the previous page, I was going to ask you, so there was my roster showed nobody had a Skies username.
Right.
Even though some of the students did use Skies last year.
Right.
And so right now it'll be blank, but once they join, they'll have their previous username, or it's going to generate a whole new username.
So yeah, the reason why it's appearing that way is because we cleared out everyone from all the school's licenses yesterday. But once you show them the join code for your course and they go into your course, they'll automatically be licensed. They'll automatically show up in the rosters again. Everything will work again.
But will they have a new username?
Oh no. If they've used Skies before, I just tell them to log on the way they've always logged on. And then just type in your class code and it will remember their username and it will keep the same username.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. The reason why we clear out the licenses at the end of every summer is because there's always like some students who move between schools and end up getting licensed through like multiple schools, and then it causes all sorts of confusion with the accounting and things like that. So we just clear everyone, and then once they join a class, they'll automatically be licensed to the correct school.
So I'm sorry, Julia, so does that mean that the previous year's course won't show up on the student's account anymore, right? I used to have the issue with teachers forgetting to archive, and then they'd have 2 courses.
So right now they would still show up on previous courses, but we could clear that too if that would be helpful to everyone. Yes, no?
For me, it would be, I have to go
Okay.
back to the teacher and tell them, archive your course so that it doesn't show up on my students. Yeah.
Okay.
Also, another just example where you could feel free like to get a little extra help from us directly. Like, you know, we can assist with those sorts of things as well, since we can access things. So, you know, don't feel like, oh, and then the person's not here today, I guess I'll have to do it tomorrow. Just let us know. We can take care of it and let them notify them. But yeah, thanks for mentioning that to Julius. It looks like you took a note of that.
Yeah.
Also, I'm sorry, someone had their hand up. Oh, Miss Madrid. Yes, I believe it was you. Please go ahead.
Yeah, sometimes during the early parts of the semester, kids will end up, or sometimes even mid-semester, the kids will move from one period to the other. So I've had the experience where the kid was in my first period class, but he's still on Skies under my first period class, but his cards are not being answered in 4th period now that he's in 4th period. So I have to go to 1st period to answer his cards and then does that make sense? Where he's not moving, he's still in my 1st period, but he's in my 4th period now.
Right. And we have a way built in the Skies to move students from one period to another.
Okay.
That we can show. I'll just show it right now, since other people might benefit from knowing how this
Yeah, why
works.
don't you show it? It's easy for teachers to do, but again, if you send a message in the help and say, I had 2 more students transfer to 2nd, we'll see who you are and we can do it for you. If you ever notice you're doing something annoying, oh, I had to do this when I go back and forth, please let us know.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and add 2 periods to here. This is just a PD that we did. So right now, if I edit the course, you can see that there's 2 periods, right? Period 1 and period 2. And the important thing are these 2 buttons here that says show students, show students. If you click show students, these are all the students in period 1, and these are all the students in period 2. These buttons are a little bit misnamed because they can not only show students, but they can change students. So if you ever want to add a new student to one of your periods, you can just type in their username here and they'll automatically be added. They won't even need to type in the code. They'll automatically pop up there. And if you ever want to move a student from one period to another, you just have to take this username, cut it, and paste it into here. And then when you save it, it will not only move them to the new period, it'll move all their work over to the new period as well. So it'll be there. And then you just press save. I'm not going to save it right now because I don't want to actually move their work. But this show student thing is very, very powerful because it lets you put students into your course, move them around, delete them, all from just one piano.
Does it also email? Does it also transfer their email address, right? Assuming they're in the system, right?
I guess their email address shouldn't change when their period changes.
Okay.
So it won't change anything with their email. But yeah. Okay.
Quick question to add to that. What about sometimes I'll get students from another classroom, from another teacher, 2nd semester move to my classroom for whatever reason. Let's say that we're both using Skies. Is there any way for, I don't know, for me to get their work, let's say mid-semester, something like that?
Oh, interesting. Okay. I think you could only do that with permission from the other teacher. The other teacher could add you as a co-teacher, or as an observer to their course. Observer would probably be the best. Observer means that you can see it, but you can't make any changes to the course, but you could actually see what they're doing. But it would have to be with permission from the other teacher.
All right, excellent. Thank you.
Welcome.
Pamela, do you have a question? Your hand's up.
Yes, thank you, James. I like to do polls with my students and, like what's your favorite color, where there is no right answer.
Right.
But in the past, when students did that, they didn't get a grade or points, which I could then transfer to Schoology, because I guess it would be called, an open-ended question. So
right, I was trying to put in the chat that you can do that now with quick response cards. You could accept answers as correct to give points.
Okay, because I saw your comment, but I wasn't sure if I was being clear about what I wanted. Okay. Can you do a demo of that?
Yeah. James, did you want to? Or actually, it's almost 11 o'clock. So we
it's 11, and that's one of the
Okay.
things I could handle in my advanced group.
Okay. Thank you.
So this is.
So yeah, this is. You've covered all of our new features now, right, Julius?
Yes, I think so. Yes.
So if there's one or two more questions about what Julius presented on, feel free to put your hand up. Otherwise, now we can move into the second half. I'll stop recording.